welcome back to Check Game, man. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams.
I'm here with your boy Terrence A. Smith, a.k.a. Fats. What's up, cuz?
And we're here to do sports show this week, man. I'm good. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Good. Happy to be back here with you, Doc.
Same here, same here. Today we wanted to start off talking about that Trae Young trade, yo. What'd you think of that?
Man.
Give me your opinion on that trade, and is that positive? How you think of that for Trae? You a player. You was a player. How you feel?
Hey, man, trades come with the business. You know what I mean? I think Trae was ready. You know, he gave a lot to Atlanta. You know what I mean? Talented player. And I think both sides, they got to a point where they had to make a move because, Atlanta been stuck in purgatory for a minute now, and I think it's behind a lot with Trae. But you talk about, four-time All-Star. He led his team to 3 playoff appearances, 1 Eastern Conference Finals. And I think they've seen the emergence of a Jalen Johnson. I think they've seen just different things that they can go with without being with Trae. So I think it was a move that Atlanta felt they needed to make. And I also think it's a great start, great opportunity for Trae Young to go with the Washington Wizards, another young team just like Atlanta was when he joined them, and try to help propel them to different heights.
I like Trae game a lot, and I think the trade was due. Because Trae seems to be like a ball. He carries the ball. He holds the ball a lot, and that's a winning strategy for him because he wins, right? He went to the Eastern Conference Final. That wins, but it seemed like they gave him the keys to the car, and as far as he went was to the Eastern Conference, and it was like, let's turn the page. It seemed like they brought more talent in, which then took the ball out of his hand. It was like, well, Trae, we gave you the keys. You did your thing. It was like now Jalen coming in, Dyson Daniels, like guys with talent coming in. And I feel like the organization just feel like it's time to try a new way of doing things instead of letting Trae hog the ball. And like I said, that's a winning strategy when Trae hogs the ball. Like he led the league in assists last year. So I say ball hog, ball dominant, I should say. You know what I mean? Because he will pass the ball. But I think it's good. And I really root for him to go and change the atmosphere down in D.C. I hope he can get them to the playoffs. I think he that good of a talent that he can drag an organization to the playoffs. So I'm rooting for him down there, and I think the trade was I think it was fair.
I got a couple questions for you, though. You saying his style of play is winning? His winning style? I think it depends. So the league has changed drastically over the years, and I think with somebody like Trae, and you've heard this argument and the narrative about small guards, which Trae is a smaller guard. Shoot the ball, can pass the ball. He's a wizard pass. He's a great passer. But I think defensively, at times, he's a liability. And I also think the biggest thing, man, that he's held the league hostage. You start hearing things about his attitude. You start hearing things about team chemistry, the locker room, and things like that. And I think once that narrative, and I'm not in the locker room, so I can't verify any of it, but you start hearing that type of talk and that type of, narrative, it hurts you. It hurts your value. And I think that's some of the things that, start, getting on Trae's jacket, like that reputation. Heck of a talent, again. But I fear that a lot of the narrative that was put on his jacket, whether it's warranted or not, it shows why the situation ended up the way it ended up. He was traded for C.J. McCollum and Corey Kispert. And it's like, all right, a talent like that, you got somebody in Corey Kispert is a shooter, right? And it's cool. But then C.J. McCollum, who could still score, but he's an older guy. Seemed like you could try to get more for a Trae Young, but the market wasn't offering that. And why wasn't it offering that? Because of his talent and all of those things. So that's one thing I look into. But I'll tell you this. I think Atlanta got better, man. I really think Atlanta got deeper. I think they got a veteran scorer out there. I think Jalen Johnson is somebody that is really ready to start taking the load on day to day, daily. And with Corey Kispert, I think he's a shooter that everybody needs. So I think Atlanta might have got better from this trade.
So when you said like that carries on his value or his jacket, but I think like a Ja Morant or like any of these high end athletes, it seems like in order for them to get to that platform, some of that ego had to be a part of their DNA, their makeup. Trey
Right,
Young got
right.
that attitude, like he was brought up with that attitude, and it seems like at some point the NBA or whatever, the organization want that to go away. When he was on fire, you accepted it. And so again, me blaming the organization more than the player all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's acceptable when you can perform. You know what I mean? Like, so he didn't
Talent over
start this behavior.
tolerance.
Yeah, he didn't start this behavior last night. So
Right.
I hear you with that. But let's get into the next topic. Jaylen Brown criticizing the refs. You're a former athlete. Give me your take on that. How'd you feel sometimes when you felt like you got a foul or you didn't get a foul? How have you ever criticized the refs? What's that like?
Not publicly because I wasn't trying to get fined. I never
Okay.
publicly, but right? Since we as little kids, we always the referees are the opposition. The referees are cheating. The referees want this team to win. The referees, and over the years, we've seen there's some implications of referees cheating for a reason. Betting, gambling. So
Okay.
it's not a far belief to even think that or have that in your head. But I think when you're a player, you start to recognize somebody like Jaylen Brown now, who's getting into those conversations as an MVP guy, one of the best in the league, and he's won championships. He's a veteran guy, 10 years in the league, and so he understands that. But you got to also understand certain players are going to get certain calls. And no matter what, I used to guard Allen Iverson, and Allen Iverson, as good as he was good also because he got those calls. Now he earned that reputation, he earned that cachet that he can get the benefit of the whistle, the benefit of the whistle. Jaylen Brown, I think, is starting to feel like I'm a player, man. There's no way I should be going to the free throw line 3 times. But man, you broke something down. Against the Toronto Raptors, which I was calling the game, he went to the free throw line 13 times. He was 12 for 13 from the line. That was the game before the Spurs where he criticized the refs. And I want to say he might have criticized the refs the game before the Raptors as well of not getting to the free throw line. And there's some inconsistencies there with the referees. But we also looked at the Boston Celtics stats and Jaylen Brown's stats from 3. He was 1 for 3 from 3 against the Raptors, but he went to the free throw line 13 times. Against the Spurs, where he didn't go to the free throw line at nearly enough, the entire team went 4 times. They shot higher volume of threes. Jaylen Brown was 5 for 11 from 3. So he wasn't as assertive. He wasn't as physical. He wasn't forcing the action. So sometimes that plays a part into not getting the whistle. And Mr. L, our coaches, you be aggressive 100% of the time. You're going to get some of those whistles. You're going to get some of those calls the more aggressive you are. So that's what I'll take into it, man. It's across the league. The referees have always been where the referees have been. So Jaylen going to have to figure out that aspect of how to play through that.
When you say like Allen Iverson, I don't think Jaylen Brown's that level yet. He's a big time player, but I feel like he's aggressive. I hear what you're saying about him taking 11 threes versus Spurs, and then took 3 threes against the Raptors, got 13 fouls against the Raptors, and got none against the Spurs. He does. He got to be more aggressive. We seen the referees get called out a lot by the athletes, and sometimes you do feel like you're getting the short end of the stick. It's part of the
Yeah,
game.
for sure.
I don't. I don't like to be calling out a ref, but maybe it's due. I wouldn't approve of him doing that because that behavior seems whiny and crying a bit. I wouldn't advise it, but that's how he felt. He said, "I'll pay the fine," and maybe he just taking a stance for the players. But I'm not publicly criticize. I mean, that sounds like whining to me. You know what I mean? You playing a sport. You know what I mean? Play the game, get through it, and let's try again tomorrow. So I'm not okay with them publicly criticizing the refs. It's a game. Somebody get the short stick sometimes. So I'm not really tripping over that. We wanted to change topics and talk about SGA 46-point night with 0 turnovers, right? And you always talking to me about the turnover. I just like to address when the guy protects the ball that much, especially with a high usage. I try to make sure they got 30 minutes, at least 6 assists, and no turnovers. I'm all about support of that when it's a guard or a player that has a lot of usage. Like you said to me earlier, usage rate. Um, that's a great game for SGA. I just wanted to shout it out because when I noticed those high usage games and a guy protects the ball like that and he got 0 turnovers, I'm just wanting to applaud it out and shout that out. What's your take on that, Al?
Nah, I mean, you always got to highlight and celebrate somebody that take care of the basketball. not turning the ball, especially at the point guard position, especially somebody who's a playmaker and the coach and the team relies on that person to protect and get them into sets and make the right plays and right decision. I always add that into ball handling, right? You make good passes. Can you handle the ball? It's not just who got the fanciest dribble and who everybody's not Kyrie Irving with that handle. But how do you take care of the ball? That's handling the rock. So I think that's critical. But it's also, man, the course of a game. When are you making that turnover? You can go the entire game with no turnovers, and then you got the ball the last possession, and you have a crucial turnover. You might have had a great floor game the entire 48 minutes, 47 minutes, but you don't have you have that one turnover that's at a critical point in the game. So it depends how the game is going. I think it's always critical to see what type of turnover it is. Dead ball turnovers, are they turnovers that lead out to fast breaks and other scoring opportunities? So there's different types of turnovers that
Mhm.
you can have. But I'm with you, cuz I'm with you with the value in the rock. And I think for a minute the league lost sight of the importance of a turnover because they want to play fast, they want to play exciting basketball, they want fancy passes, they want to be adventurous with the rock, take crazy shots, all that type of stuff. But now I think, to your point, is getting back to really paying attention to the assist to turnover ratio. How are people taking care of the ball? So I'm with you, man. I like your criteria to highlight players, the amount of usage rate, the minutes they play, and all those things. So it's something we're gonna keep an eye out for.
Definitely, man. Shout out to SGA. We wanted to talk about this Schroeder suspension and him approaching Luca after the game at the Lakers game. Luca told him he should have signed that contract with the Lakers, and Schroeder took it a little bit personal. What I want to say to you is, y'all NBA guys, they be bluffing, man. They act like they want to fight, they scream and yell, and nobody throw a punch. So I'm just saying, Schroeder did all this. He ran behind. He went to the locker room. He went out the back to try to catch up with Luca. Like, behave better than that because you're bluffing. Like, you're not gonna do you're not gonna do anything. And if you can't take the smack talk on the court, I was shocked because Schroeder got game, and I'm sure somebody's tried to get under his skin. But maybe it's that overseas thing. Where's Schroeder from France?
Germany.
Germany, and he's from Slovenia?
Yeah.
I don't know, but he got under his skin enough to piss him off, and Schroeder wanted to fight him. And after the game, and they suspended him for 3. What's your take on players trying to fight the players? What's that all about, man?
Hey, man, it is what it is. But to your point, nobody's really trying to fight. Nobody's really trying to give up a bunch of bread for fighting. Losing now, he's losing. That's whatever his contract is. He's losing 3 games worth of that. So it's like, come on, dog. Like you don't want to risk that. And at the end of the day, the dynamics what people don't realize, and you probably do realize, it's like growing up in Philadelphia, and you got a row home, and you arguing with your next door neighbor. You're gonna see each other every day. You got access to each other. You go in that tunnel. The locker rooms are right next to each other. The buses are there. The buses are right where your car is if you home or away. So it's definitely an opportunity for you to do anything that you want to do. And guess what? A lot of times
Mm,
we hang out at the same places. We go to the same dinners. We know
mhm,
you got that. So nobody's ducking if you ever wanted to really do something. But I
mhm,
think the
mhm.
emotions get the best of these players a lot of times. And I think also when you got 300 people behind you that's not going to let nothing happen to you, then it's easier to
Ah,
do that. But to your point, these dudes probably got international history. They probably played
mhm,
against each other in the Olympics. I know they played against in in different medal rounds and stuff like that. There's a lot of international history. So, and Luca, one of them boys, and somebody mopping you up a little bit, and they
Yeah.
talking to you, that's going to get under your skin too. So,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
I
mhm.
don't think it's nothing. It's just interesting that it carried all the way over there where if he would have said something or swung on him, he probably wouldn't have got 3 games while he did at the game. But when you take it off the court and you put other
Mhm.
people involved, now the league got to really step in and make it more of a serious violation.
No, I completely understand that. We wanted to talk about your man Jason Kidd getting ejected, man.
You talking about
I
these referees, man?
about the refs, man. Scott Foster happened to be the one that did it too. So Scott Foster ejected your man Jason Kidd, and it had to be the calmest argument I ever seen because Jason Kidd wasn't yelling or erratic or making a scene on the court, but he kicked him out. You as a player, you ever been ejected? And what's
Never.
that like? What's the fine? What's it like for the ref kicking Jason Kidd out of the game, man?
No, it's. I mean, Jason Kidd, who's been, I mean, he's been in this league for I don't know how many years as a player, as a coach, uh, exec coach. He's been involved, and he's one of them boys in his league, and I'm sure he has a reputation and a relationship, not a reputation, but a relationship with Scott Foster. But you've heard Scott Foster name in the news a lot, dealing with
Mm-hmm.
players and conflict with
Mm-hmm.
players, namely
Mm-hmm.
Chris Paul. Him and Chris Paul got an ongoing. I don't know where that beef comes from, but it's a real, sounds like a real personal beef. But Scott Foster's
Mm-hmm.
one of those referees. He's not really a nonsense guy. He's not walking around trying to be cool with you, and he's not really trying to listen to much. And he seems like sometimes he comes into the games with an attitude. I don't know if it comes from home. I don't know if he was in the traffic rage or whatever getting to the game, but he does carry himself with that type of attitude. And I'm sure J Kidd, you know what I mean, it was early in the game, first quarter. So again, you talk about Jaylen Brown and we talk about the referees and how you interact with referees. And I say this to young people as well, Fats. As soon as you realize it's 13 people involved in the game. When you talk about 5 on one side, 5 on the other side, and then the 3 referees, they are a part of the game. Good or bad, they are part of it, and you got to just learn how to manage it. So J Kidd probably wasn't expected to get thrown out, but he definitely wanted to get his point across, whatever it took.
You say that it's 13 people on the court, and back at Gratz, Mr. L would always say we playing against 8. You know what I mean? So I definitely, I definitely know what that's all about. We wanted to talk about Anthony Davis, and what's important about this conversation is me and you talk about availability is the best ability, and as talented as he is, we talked about his value. Is he still at it's the trade deadline's coming? I'm sure Dallas would like to get off of this unavailable player. Not that it's specifically Anthony Davis, but he's just unavailable. And like you said, what team want to give up anything for that unavailable player? This great talent that's unavailable, and I think it's his thumb this time. I
Yeah.
like his game. It seems like he play hard, he's solid, but he just got a problem staying on the court. What's your thoughts on that? You had some injuries. How you feel about that when the guys are unavailable like that, Al?
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate. It's like 2 ways you got to think about it. Injuries are part of the game, and it's nobody's fault they're getting hurt. But to your point, it's like, all right, man, you got guys that are injury prone, and you got guys that not only are injury prone, they get injured, they sustain injuries where they miss a substantial amount of time. And with Anthony Davis, he's one of those players that's on the cusp that you build your team around and you cater your offenses, and he's that talented where you cater your defenses to him. And with him gone, now everything has to adjust. Everything has to adjust. So when that's happened over time, and that's kind of like a trend with AD, in the past 5, 6 years. I don't know. I think he might have played in 60% of his games throughout his career. It's just one of those things. If I'm an exec and I got to try to make a move to get him, I'm not trying to give up much. And I'm not trying to extend, which I think Rich Paul is asking for. Whatever team he goes to, he's looking for an extension, like a max extension. So I'm not sure, as talented as AD is and as much as he affects winning, his disappearance, it affects losing. And it's just like, God, man, I don't know how much I can give. I don't know how much value he's gonna maintain with that reputation and just the unfortunate events of him getting hurt all the time. So I'm 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 in a crossroads with him during this time because I'm a big fan. And I think he could bring even here in Toronto, it was trade talks about him, but how much do you want to give up? And then, Toronto is one of those unique places that people come here and they try to get extensions. They try to get their money because a lot of people don't actually come here as a free agent. So you get traded here, get extended, and then you play for longer for the team. But I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, but you're right, Fats. Your best ability is availability.
It's your availability, man. That's it. Game time. Man. Game time. The segment where we talk about trending topic today in the NBA, and today we're talking about the globalization of the NBA basketball and how there hasn't been an American-born MVP since the 2017-2018 season, which was James Harden. I'll note that after James Harden, it was Giannis got 2, Joker got 2, and B got 1. Joker got 1 again, and last year was Shea. All foreign-born players. When we talk about the transition of game, how do you feel about it being globalized and the game seems to be stretching out further and it's changing? It's changing the NBA. It's changing a lot. in the NBA today. What's your take on the globalization of the NBA basketball, Al?
I mean, I love it. I love the expansion of it. I love the opportunities. We've seen this coming over time. NBA been trying to do this thing for a long time. Even in the '90s, you bring in Tony Kukoc, and you got plays even before that, Petrovic and Dražen
Petrovic.
Petrovic, and
Yeah, Johnson.
all these guys, Marcelonis. You got
Mhm.
players. I played with Arvinas Sabonis, so the NBA has been trying to do this, but they've been doing it. Like you look across of it, you look at the sports science, like sports medicine. They bring a lot of the philosophies of how they approaching the training. We talk about the load management. We talk about how they do the preparation, the sleep studies. All of these things, of course, America has these things, but it's really prevalent in the international style, whether it's football or American soccer or whatever. So all of these things they adopt in these things. Analytics is a big part of international play, the training aspect of it, the development aspect of it. And you're starting to look at the NBA, they are changing for stylistically. Stylistically, open floor. Back in the day, you remember this, Fats, if a big man shot a three, he was the softest thing in the world. Now, if you're a big man and can't shoot a three or can't dribble, then you can't even fit in this NBA no more. So you've seen over time, they've taken some of the things away or added some of the things. So the globalization has really happened. I think it really sparked the opportunity when the 1992 Olympic Dream Team went over there and they got so much notoriety and it was
Mhm.
so many opportunities over there. The NBA took full advantage. David Stern, now Adam Silver as the commissioner. So many elements and so many pieces to it. I like it, and I see the game is played a certain way, and your international players are really flourishing. They're the best at this style of play. The bigs they have a lot of knowledge. You look at the international players, they have a lot of knowledge and a lot of understanding how the game is supposed to be played, how the coaches and how the NBA wants the game to be presented. And they got a head start. Whereas before, they always had to overcome the language barrier. They had to overcome being in a different environment. They had to overcome the style of play, and players couldn't flourish like they can today. So I think it's um, a collective ingredient that people are putting together that's making the talent and the product really perform the way they perform it. And you're starting to see these guys getting these MVPs because they're not just talented; they really understand the game is how it's supposed to be played.
Well, good you said that because for me, I think they have helped the NBA grow so far with how far an athlete can see his talent go. What I mean by that is we didn't see a 6'10 Tony Kukoc. Like, damn, he's 6'10 and can handle like this. And now I think from that moment, excuse me, all the way up till today, you see Nas Reed. You see these guys that's tall and they much more skilled. And I feel like Europe or the overseas ball has brought that to America. Like you said, back in the day, your Patrick Ewing was outside to the three line. That looked bad. Today, that's normal. And I think that's what the Europeans have bought. Dirk Nowitzki, tall with guard skill. Luka Doncic, you know what I mean? Tall with the
Yeah,
ability to pass and cut and do guard things. So I think they make the game grow. They make the athletes become better handlers, better shooters. Like I think that's some of the impact the globalization has had on the NBA is that these foreign players came with such a different, unique style and skill set that you looking at Tony Kukoc, you're like, well, shit, he got to handle. I got to get it. It made them feel like I need to be
yeah.
a guard, or I need to be just as talented as everybody on the floor. Is what the European ball looks like to me. That the guard need to be just as talented as the center. All the way through, everybody need to be able to handle, shoot, cut, pass. So I think it's helped the game a lot, to be honest with you. And being as though it's 8 years straight that it's been a foreign MVP, it just says a lot. And hopefully this year is the All Star game, foreigners versus America this year.
I think that might be the format. The international players, yeah, I
Then
think that might be the format.
that'd be cool because it's not bad, but it seems like we would hope that the American players can do win it all. But I'm not against the foreign players doing well. I like what they're doing in Africa too. I'm curious to see what comes out of there with that thing they doing in Africa because I think there are going to be some great athletes coming out of there. I can't wait to see what a champion or a MVP looks like in that African league that they're doing over there. So
Yeah.
shout out to it. I like it a lot. I appreciate it.
Also, this like you just think about when we was kids and the way we were taught. We were taught the game but the way we were taught our position, everything was position. We go to a gym, guards down here, bigs down there. And guards had to play like this. They're not taught like that. Everybody is taught a skill set. Everybody is taught how to play the game. You start seeing a lot of 5 out. Everybody's out on the perimeter. Somebody might dive cut. The big may be inside, 5 out, 4 out, 1 in. It's like, so we were taught in a way that it was all position oriented. And the position led to your skill set. So that's why it's always interesting when you talk about players, you compare players. Well, he couldn't shoot back then. Well, that wasn't his role, and that's what it wasn't. He could have been a very good shooter, and he couldn't do this. But the international game. Everybody is taught how to play the game, and a skill set is taught to everybody. So it's just one of those things, man. You can go into like the history of America. You can talk about the race component, and I'll get into that because certain aspects of a player, if you was a black player and you weren't athletic, you might as well go ahead and do something else because we can get somebody else. We can get a white dude, whatever, can do what you can do. If you wasn't white and couldn't shoot, damn, man, we might as well get somebody else out of it. So it's like, it feels like to me, it was always a race component to it, man. So that's that's probably a deeper conversation that we get into, but I don't see that being the case internationally, dog. So it's a lot to go behind it, but I like the globalization. I like the expansion of where the NBA is going, and it's going to be harder for people to get into that NBA. It was always hard, but now it's going to be harder because the scope is much wider.
Well, it made me laugh when you said the white boy is looked at as shooter and the black guy got to be the athlete. I remember being in Gratson. If a white boy checked in the game, you just like, shooter. You don't even know if he can shoot. You don't even know.
Don't let him shoot.
Yeah, shooter. So that's game time, man. Thank you.
Fast, this segment right here, this is one of my favorites right here, is Play of the Week. We both get to select a play that really got us out the seat, man. You know, bringing that entertainment factor. And I had an opportunity to see this firsthand, first row, front row. I was calling the game, Boston Celtics, Toronto Raptors, and the boy I've been talking about, CMB, Colin Murray-Boyle. He got a fast break, gave it up a little bit, gave it to Jacoby Walter. Jacoby Walter, I was like, nah, don't make that pass. You finish it. He threw it up, and Peyton Pritchard was caught in no man's land. Damn! He dunked that thing, dog. Oh, my God. And I just like I said, damn, I said that during a broadcast. I thought they was going to shit can me. I thought they was going to fire me, but that's my play for the Toronto Raptors. Shout out to CMB and the Raptors with the play of the week from me.
Well, since you was calling it, I was watching it. Shout out to CMB for doing that, and it was great to hear you call the game. Shout out to you and that, Al. Well, while you was watching that, when the Spurs and the Celtics played, I'm left-handed, and I just got a thing for the crossover. My man, De'Aaron Fox, came down, and it was just he yanked him left, Derek White, and then he pulled him back the other way and lay. You know what I mean? So that was my play of the week, that De'Aaron Fox left hand, he took White one way and stutter step and brought him back the other way and then finished him off to the hole. So that was my play of the week. And shout out to De'Aaron Fox for, putting this thing down like that.
And he didn't do it to no lane. Derek White got game.
Yeah.
I told y'all niggas I was coming back
hard. It's your boy Facts, man. I got something to tell you this week about my facts, man. I'm not upset about it, but I think the NBA need to put the dress code back, man, because I don't like these guys putting on a fashion show at the game. It's not that I'm hating on their clothes. I'm more distracted that they not synchronized. Like the 6 coaches, all black shirt, all same pants, maybe a different shoe. If you're going to come to the game and sit on the bench, wear the team's apparel. It's my suggestion. It just looks more professional. There's a product that the NBA is selling, and this is not time for me to see how fly you can dress. I came to watch you play basketball. I didn't come to see you with your jewelry out and your mink and all these fly colors that you're wearing. Fine, I'm not against that. I just don't think that's the place for that. You here to work. Nobody else can go to work and wear not their company's uniform, right? Put your company's uniform on at work is all I'm saying. It makes the company look better. I'm not hating on y'all style. I'm not hating on the NBA guys being fly. That's cool. The product looks better when we synchronize, is my point. When we all look alike, when we all in the same outfit, it looks more togetherness, and it looks like a better product. Ja Morant was on the bench. I don't mean to pick on him, but he had a Nike sweatsuit on, a Scully, and a hoodie on. And I just thought, that doesn't, as me as a fan, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that when I'm at the game. I would prefer to see y'all all in team's attire if you're going to be on the bench. I just think that's a better look for the team and a better look for the organization. So I do think the dress code probably should get back intact. I don't mind even the suits. The suits was okay, but I really think if you're going to work, put your work outfit on, put the warm up on, so you look in sync with the team. And that's my fact, and that's my thoughts on the apparel of the teams today. It looks more synchronized when y'all guys do it together. That's basically what I'm saying.
I was tripping, man. You know I wouldn't trip.
Who tripped this week, Al? You know we enjoy that segment when we give a shout out to a player who completed that feat that we think is nice. We shouting out Luka Doncic. He had a 38-point, 10 assists, 10 rebounds against the Spurs. It was a loss, but he tripped. Dyson Daniels in Atlanta, he had 17, 11, and 11 versus Denver in the win. And shout out to the young boy Derek Queen. He had 14, 16, and 12 in the win versus the Wizards. I just like to shout that out. I love it that big men are doing it. Derek Queen is able to get the triple. That's a hard feat to get, Al. What's your take on that, man?
No, it's a heck of a feat, especially being that young, figuring out the game, playing that position. He's showing that he's very versatile. He can score the ball, but he has a great feel, man. He knows where players are, and he has that touch. You talk about a little joker. You got guys like Alfred Sengun, they call it baby joker, but Derek Queen is somebody coming in the league, figuring it out early. And I love the fact Dyson Daniels, everybody talked about him as a defensive guy, one of the most improved players in the NBA, but now his game is just rounding about, and everybody know what Luka does. He's a walking triple-double potentially. So shout out to all the kids that's tripping.
Yeah, shout out to the trips. This, you know how we do this, Al. This day in sports, man. I got one for you this week for our Philadelphians again, man. It just happened to be coming up like this. But today in sports is our man, Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier's birthday today. Happy birthday, Joe Frazier, man. That's a big-time Philadelphian. His gym was in North Philly. He had the 3 fights with Ali. He beat the champ. Shout out to the family, man. His daughter, she in the court. She a judge in Philly. Just happy birthday to Joe Frazier. I wanted to send him a shout out as a Philadelphian. What you got, Al?
No doubt about it. Shout out to the legend. Always rest in peace, but legend of Joe Frazier, always big time fighter, known for that left hook. But nah, I got a shout out to one of my OGs, Dominique, the human highlight film Wilkins. He turned 66 years old today, man. Always, he does broadcasts as well for the Atlanta Hawks, man. Legend out there. Legend in the game of basketball, man. Always show love, always dropping gems, giving stories, man. So it's always a pleasure to see him. And shout out, happy birthday to Dominique. Enjoy your day.
End game. This is a segment where we give a shout outs to end our show, and we take the opportunity to show love back to the people that show us a little love. Al, it's your day to shout out who you want to shout out, so I'll pass it over to you.
I told you I want to shout out former teammates, man, that I think about that played some influential part of my career and my life. So I wanted to give a shout out to my OG, Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues is somebody, man, I watched for a long time at Wake Forest. Then got a chance to watch him in the NBA. And then by the grace, I just got to be his teammate. And then even beyond that, he took me under his wing. And we still communicate today. His birthday just passed as well. So wanted to give Muggsy a shout out, man. You've been an integral part of my life to a measure you don't even have an idea. So if you ever see this, man, just always want to let you know, man, how much I love you, how much I appreciate you, man. And shout out to you, Muggs. Much love, dog.
Shout out Muggs, man. He was a hell of a ball hogger, man. He'd take your wallet and give you your ID back. So shout out to Muggsy Bogues.
My rookie year at Portland. And one of our first preseason games was against Golden State. And Muggsy was on the team. And I looked down in the warm-up line, and I said, damn, I'm about to get cut. Because I already knew what was going to happen. And I remember we was walking past each other, and I'm like, how you doing, Mr. Bogues? And when he walked past me, he didn't say nothing. I always tell him, he ain't say nothing to me. I was scared to death. Luckily, he was a vet, so he didn't play in the game. And I was like,
Mhm.
whoo. But I was petrified. You talking about taking your wallet. I was like, man, I'm going to get cut tonight. Because I'll tell you this, we played against, I think it's his relative, Shante Rogers, out in Baltimore, man. And he robbed me down to my socks, came to Philadelphia. His squad from Baltimore came and sent me nightmares. So shout out to all that Baltimore squad. But Muggsy, man, again, Muggsy was the guy that he will steal your wallet and give you your ID back.
Yeah,